I want to bring in now Congresswoman Cori Bush from Missouri and her guest, Michael Brown Sr., who will be with her at the State of the Union tonight. Thank you both so much for being on the show here this afternoon.
Thanks for having us.
Well,
Mr. Brown, we're glad to have you here. Congresswoman Bush, I'll start with you here because I see that you're wearing a pin that says 1870. I understand you will also be wearing it tonight at the State of the Union. That's the first known year a police officer killed an unarmed black person in this country. It's all about drawing the attention to the need for progress on police reform. What are you going to be looking to hear from the president on this?
You know, when we're talking about police reform, you know, it has to get to the point to where actual change happens and people feel the change because lives are saved. So when we talk, looking at 911 diversion programs, civilian traffic enforcement, you know, putting more money into behavioral health, you know, unarmed emergency first responder programs, those are things that we actually have legislation for. And we would love to see that legislation actually move from introduction when we introduced in March to actually being able to be passed and across the president's desk.
Mr. Brown, similar question to you, because your son was shot and killed by a now ex-police officer in 2014, somebody who was never charged. We are now here at a moment when Tyree Nichols' family is mourning his death, and we've heard his mother call on Congress to pass the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act just last week at his funeral. What is your message to President Biden, and what's the message you want to hear from him?
Well, definitely I want to hear some type of something being resolved. You know, we have a lot of things on people's desks that's catching dust that need to be pushed. You know, so the George Floyd Act, it need to be pushed. We have one too, so it's so many, but they need to be pushed, and we tired of being looked over. So we just want to have a conversation to see where we're going next.
On the topic of that conversation, right? This is a conversation that this country has been a part of for many years. The death of your son, Mr. Brown, brought momentum to the Black Lives Matter movement. What do you think has and has not changed since your son was killed in 2014, when you look at this over the last nearly 10 years now?
Well, clearly a conversation has not been happening. You know, there's been a lot of conversation in rooms, but we're not getting no resolve, you know. So we definitely need to get the right people in these rooms. We need to have our people like, you know, Ms. Cori Bush, you know, all us in these rooms that knows what it looks like, you know, to have these conversations so we can move forward on change.
Congresswoman Bush, a White House official is telling NBC News that one key phrase from the president tonight is going to be to finish the job. I'm quoting there. Finish the job on things like police reform, as Mr. Brown is talking about, on gun violence, on the economy, on making health care better, et cetera, in this country. Do you think that is a realistic let me phrase it this way. What are the chances that happens, given the realities of legislating, as you well know, in a divided House?
You know, absolutely it's divided. We have a House that is Republican controlled, that is this MAGA insurrectionist platform that gets to lead, you know, in Congress, where white supremacy gets to lead in Congress every single day. But you have people who are here that are pushing, and we brought people with us to be able to help push that change. And so this is the thing. We won't forget the pain. We won't forget the trauma. We won't forget that today could be another day where another life will be taken because we didn't act. We didn't act to the point to where lives will be changed. We didn't act to the point to where we get to quit shouting at buildings and throwing pebbles at the ocean. We actually get something. And so our president is the first person to help make sure that that happens, whether it's by executive order, whether it's by using political power and political will. But Congress needs to move, and that courage has to come. And so people like me, who I don't care about the name or the reputation, I don't care about if people like me or if they sign up, you know, to support me. I care about making sure that lives like his son were saved. And so I believe that if we have to push a little harder, if we have to march a lot longer, if we have to pull on people and ask them to do things they would have never done that makes them uncomfortable, that's what we have to do. If I have to wear a pin that says 1870 and on this side where Black Lives Matter on my shoulder in the State of the Union, which I will do tonight, you'll see. If that's what we have to do to start pushing these messages, I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to stop saying the same things that I've been saying. Why? Because when we stop pushing, when we allow folks to silence us and tell us that this is not yet the priority, that these are the ways that we go about this, what we've seen year after year is a rise in police killings. When I spoke about a year ago, I said, oh, you know what? 2021 was the year with the highest number of police killings in this country. It was on record. Well, you know what? Now I'm saying 2022 is on record for the highest number of police killings. We didn't change anything. Now has to be the time. The time was a century ago. The time is way past now.
When you talk about pushing the message, right, and you're clear on that, you're vocal on that, I also wonder about pushing the president to the left some, right, because we know that Congresswoman Ramirez will give the progressive response to the president's speech tonight, likely reportedly on some issues like executive action on drug pricing, raising a threshold to make more workers eligible for overtime pay. What do you want to see the president do to help satisfy the progressive members of your party?
Yeah, so first of all, Rep. Delia Ramirez is amazing. I can't wait to continue to work with her. But like I said before, we have a bill, Helping Families Heal Act. That bill will make sure that money is going into our schools to be able to have someone there that can help deal with, work with students who are suffering from trauma, the trauma of police violence, because that is actually a thing. When we don't see the test scores we want to see from our students, but our students live in a place where that is a toxic, lethal environment, how are we addressing that? We also have a bill, the People's Response Act, putting those first responders, those unarmed first responders, those health experts on the ground, answering those calls of those who are calling saying, hey, I'm in a mental health crisis. I have this situation. This person is unhoused and they need help. Or there's a substance use crisis. In St. Louis, we have seen over 600% increase in opioid deaths in just 6 years. How do we get that? How do we get that help? We have to put the people on the ground who are qualified to do that. And hopefully this is what the president will be able to say is we're looking at who's qualified to do the job.
Mr. Brown, I want to come back to you on what it means for you to be able to be in the chamber tonight with Congresswoman Bush and how you will be remembering your son tonight.
Definitely. Well, you'll see what I have on my gear, what I'm be dressed in, right? but being here with Ms. Bush, you know, this is in the making. You know, I see only good coming out of this. You know, we have worked and stumped these grounds so hard for all these years, and I think it's our time. You know, if we the only ones see this is a problem, and we have people in certain positions that don't, it's a problem. So we want to have a conversation to see where we can fix this and move forward.
And we've been rocking for a long time.
Yes, since 2014.
Out on the streets, knocking those doors, breaking heels, you know, running down our heels. We will continue to do that work and do it together. The movement is in Congress.
Congresswoman Cori Bush, Michael Brown Sr., thank you so much to the both of you for being on today. I know you have a long night and an important night ahead of you. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.